be done for a parent who's passed as well. I mean, they don't even have to be here because of what you are doing for yourself. I have kind of a hard one, and I just thought of this now. It's always been, well, first of all, what makes this biodecoding so wonderful, it's not just about illness, it's about dysfunctions, it's about worry and fear and all the other things that interrupt our life, especially right now. So it's an all-encompassing kind of a vision of new healing. What about a woman, and I've seen this over and over, who has an abusive father, and then she goes away from it. The last thing you'd ever want is for her then to repeat that, but she does. She goes and has a marriage, and she has an abusive person. She brings abuse to her life, and she'll do it maybe 2 more times. And you go, what is that process? You want to get away from it. Why would you attract it?
Yes. Oh, that's a great question. Well, because, so that's the program that's imprinted in your subconscious mind. And the subconscious goes, wow, this is your program, and that's how you live, which presupposes that permits you to stay alive. That's familiar. You stay alive with that program, so I need to repeat it. If I repeat it, I keep you alive. Because that's the logic of the subconscious, which does not think in terms of wrong or right. It just thinks in terms of programming.
So that's the reality of the woman, and that's her survival. And so subconsciously, she's going to go out and create that same reality and continue to survive.
Absolutely. So that her subconscious feels that it's doing the right thing to keep her alive. It will be familiar for her. And interestingly, it takes 3 milliseconds for our subconscious mind to pick up on someone else's programs. So when we enter a room and we meet a person for the first time, we have the capacity subconsciously to download the programs of the other person. That's how a woman like the one you described could feel, oh, this man is so lovely and, soft and loving and sweet. But then down the road, he'll be someone who also is violent with her like her father was. Well, it's simply because her brain already is subconsciously aware that that is the perfect match for her. For
her survival. Wow.
Yes.
And then that even brings up, you're perceiving other consciousnesses and maybe even other dysfunctions. I know this is extremely complex. It's also very, very profound. You're one of these speakers that we're touching the iceberg of something that I think is so important.
Absolutely.
And what I would like to do, just even now, without even asking, is I would like to make this part 1 of number 2. I'd like to have you come back sometime, maybe in a month or so or whenever it says, and continue the conversation, because believe it or not, we have 2 minutes left.
That would be my pleasure. Yes, it's a very wide subject and so interesting, and we can fix so many things quickly and improve our lives. So that's so worth it to work on ourselves.
Was there anything you would like to say?
Well, I would actually just like to let people know that Isabel's just finished writing a book, and it's called The Bio Breakthrough. You can get it on Amazon. And what I love about Isabel is she's wanting to put the tools in your hands so that you have solutions for yourself. And that's the motive behind this book. And then you can connect with Isabel on bioreprogramming.net. She offers many online courses that you can also take. And, something about learning about biodecoding. And one last thing, she doesn't just do biodecoding. Because of her background in NLP, it's about creating a new program, because if you want lasting change to happen, it's about how you implement a new program into your life. And sometimes it can be really simple, like the example of the mum going to work, make it a happy event, and it changes everything. But sometimes it requires a little more change than that. So
this works, folks.
It absolutely works.
And if you've just heard of this and go, I'm not really sure that she's got something here. She does. She really does. And I wouldn't tell you that unless I had seen the results and heard of these things. I mean, some really miraculous things. Just from understanding what's gone on and then solving it in your own perception, so much is in our subconscious that literally gets in the way of peace and joy and happiness and all the things we teach.
Yeah.
Isabel, I'll give you the last 30 seconds here to say, whatever you'd like to say to our people before you leave.
Yeah.
Yes, so thank you so much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for the work that you do as well in the world. I'm very aware of it, and I follow you, and so thank you. And yes, I want to tell everyone that actually we have more power than we think. We can increase our free will. We can take care of our illnesses. We can take care of our path and live a life in our own terms. There's always a possibility to let go of a program. So that's the message. You can change your life and transform it into a fulfilling, happy life once you get this knowledge.
Awesome. We're going to see you again. And
Thank you,
I wanted to say
Isabel.
so. Thank you so much, and until next time. Wow.
Yes, thank you too.
And I've actually known when people start working with the biodecoding, they will sometimes repeat the modules because it's so fascinating and there's so much
We get very excited
information.
about this. Right.
We do. But it's actually time for us to now have a break. And so that's what we're going to do now. We're going to take a break and then we'll come right on back to do the Circle of 12.
See you in 10.
Well, welcome back from the break, and we really hope you enjoyed the discussion and conversation we had with Isabel. Don't you just love hearing her talk of her knowledge and then the case studies?
I really do. I've sat and heard a full day presentation with her, so we really barely scratched the surface. I really would love to have people hear some more of this so they got a profound feeling of what's possible.
Yeah, and I've been blessed to be able to actually do some workshop and modules with her.
Right.
And what's interesting is that you can be in class and hear someone else's discussions of their conflicts, and people in the entire group can benefit, and sometimes we have a healing because of the other person.
This is very common.
Yeah.
I think with almost any healing, I would say, conference like that, explanations and all that, there's an aha that occurs, and you pull it to yourself.
And isn't it beautiful what Kryon just talked about, the soul sharing component?
Yeah, that's right.
And that's also probably why we have those shared experiences.
I think so.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
now that we are back from break, let's move into the Circle of 12 meditation. And as we prepare for the Circle of 12, let us begin by giving honor and thanks to Mother Gaia. She is our original parent, and Mother Gaia gives us all we need. So thank you, Gaia, for being here. Thank you, Gaia, for loving us. And let us give honor and thanks to the Star Mothers. Thank you, Star Mothers, for being here. Thank you, Star Mothers, for loving us. The Star Mothers are our spiritual parents who came to Earth as part of a grand system to give us the spark of divinity. This piece of God that lives inside is the power of the God energy within the human being. You are part of the system of the Creator that is biased in love. And let us affirm our willingness to receive the unconditional love of the Creator. I am willing to accept the perfect love of the Creator. I am willing to accept the perfect love of the Creator. I am willing to accept the perfect love of the Creator. And let us now continue towards the Circle of 12, and let us affirm that we give permission to connect with the God inside.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon. I invite you to come closer. Coming closer, yet again, I explain to you, means that you step out of a reality that you think is yours into a bigger reality that is yours. Difficult it is to explain, and yet, by now, so many of you have done it. I told my partner to make this program something that repeats, to continue doing it and continue doing it. Because through the repetition, some of the things which are unknown become better known. We have spoken to you before about the fact that so much of what we are about to do is odd and strange, and it becomes understood. But still, it's not necessarily something that you do every day. The invitation from this program is to learn to do it every day, to do it by yourself every day, without the guidance, perhaps, that you hear from me. This is a new concept, and yet it is not. I will tell you that many of the ancients did this. And they did it and called it different things. They walked into another world of their own, a world some of them thought was dreaming, others thought was just visionary. But what they did was more than what they called an out-of-body experience. Because this one, the difference is, it's an internal body experience. You are going to move into the real you. And you stay where you are. You don't go out of body. You go into a place that is with you all the time. That is so beautiful. We spoke earlier about the soul and about soul sharing. It's all involved in that discovery that you can make right now about how big you are, how much larger than you've ever been told. This particular meditation, this visualization, whatever you wish to call it, is similar every time. And there are many reasons for its similarity. Unlike a teaching, it needs to be repeated. It needs to be participated in. It needs to be welcomed. The attitude around it needs to shift and change every time you do it. Because it is you stepping out of you, the you that you've known forever has to change. In its acceptance, did you hear the meditation? Do you give permission to accept the love that comes from the creative source? If you do, you understand that that will help you break down the barriers of unbelief. And in that, when we go across the bridge, you're going to be far more prepared for all that is there. I will tell you something now I have said before. Some of you will go across the bridge and through the mist and participate even going into the temple that we are going into, which is you. And yet you still have a holdback, a bias. And that is the disbelief that it actually is happening. Because of the linearity of you, you say, well, I'm still in my chair and this is lovely. And I will say to you, you're not in your chair. And that is the difference between a 100% participation and a partial participation. You have no idea how big you are. And there will be those eventually who will go into that theater and realize that you sit in the middle of the galaxy, a part of the universe that looks at you instead of a temple. It's coming. And that is where we go even now. You're about to cross the bridge. The bridge is always the same idea. But of course, it's your bridge, so it may look any way you wish. The idea is always the same. The perception will always be the same, going from the known to the unknown. Kryon, will we ever get to a place where it isn't the known to the unknown? Yes. But there'll always be a bridge, and I'll tell you why. Because you must go from your kind of reality to a new kind of reality. Going